Hari Om. Yes, what should we share?
Hari Om, sir.
Huh?
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om. What is to be shared?
You can make it little loud, Swamiji. Maybe my volume is low. No, it's full. No.
Remembrance and chanting.
Remembrance and chanting. Should I bring the books?
Papa keeps on reminding us. Probably that aspect has not come to our mind. The chanting of God's name is for remembrance. Chanting is not for chanting. If we look back to our own life, we can find we have been chanting. We have a sankalpa in our mind and we keep on chanting. Have you been able to remember him? Somebody would have definitely, but most of us find it difficult. Chanting is going on. That is why Papa must have been observing this. He says, if we are proud of any good work we do, it does not help us in going nearer God. Therefore, in the Hindu scriptures it is said that the path of karma is very difficult. You are puffed up when people praise you and God is forgotten. When you forget Him, the ego rises. Continuous remembrance of God means keeping down the ego. So the moment the asserting individuals wells up in our mind, even on a trifle matter, we should know we have forgotten Him. Elsewhere, Papa says, we are oblivious of the fact. Forgetfulness can go only by remembrance. Ignorance can go only by knowledge. Continuous remembrance of God is possible only when your devotion is intense. You must do bhajan, have satsang and remember God. If you taste once the sweetness of God remembrance, you will never forgo Him. You will have the first taste of that experience in satsang only. What is meant by remembrance of God? It is not simply uttering His name. Repetition of the name must bring God into the mind. Otherwise, repetition is mechanical. It is no good repeating God's name like a parrot. Remembrance must develop into an intoxication of God. And that intoxication in turn must develop into God consciousness. So much so, you come to know that you and He are one. By constant remembrance of God, you rise beyond body consciousness and dwell in divine consciousness. It is not by calculation, affirmation, or intellectual acceptance we can attain that supreme realization. It is a state of superconsciousness attained through continuous remembrance of God. If we are to keep up this remembrance always, we should be humble. I am a servant, you are the master. You direct me, I do things. Your command is supreme for me. We must approach Him in this spirit of surrender to His. That requires naturally continuous remembrance. The remembrance must flow in our mind continuously like a stream of oil poured from one vessel to another. Remembrance makes us conscious of His presence. Quoting from books and delivering discourses will not help. You must attain universal vision through the knowledge of the self, because the self is all-pervading. As the ego disappears, there is no room in you for desires to persist. They vanish automatically. Ego sense is a great obstacle. It can also go by continuous remembrance of God. Condition for ceaseless remembrance. The aspiration of God is seized by Him is grace alone, and He created the necessary condition for ceaseless remembrance of Him. Ramdas had done nothing to deserve His grace. Suddenly it gripped him. Thereafter he was living only for God. No ambition, no aspiration, no craving for anything else. By continuous remembrance of the Atman until you know that you are the Atman. Suppose there is a purse containing a money in your pocket and you have forgotten about it. When you recollect it, you put your hand in and it is there. So remembrance gives you awareness. It is already there, you are ignorant of it, you had forgotten about it. Forgetfulness can be removed by remembrance. Like that, in God Experience 1, He keeps on repeating. And now we look at ourselves. As a habit, we all chant. It gives us some joy. During that particular chanting session. Then when we come out of the chanting session, if we watch ourselves, we will know that we have not been able to keep up this God remembrance. We start reacting from the me and mind level only. So now we pray to God. You gave us this holy and all-powerful Ramnam through our Master. We have faith in it. We enjoy doing it. During many of our critical times, it has helped us. We know it is the support. But immediately after that problem is over, we don't remember you. We are back to square one. Anything happens in our personal life, we are unable to align with it, reconcile with it. Whenever we see any person and whenever we have any difference of opinion, we never think that God has come in that form to test us, but we immediately react from the me and mind level. In spite of our doing Nama for decades, not years. So that is why probably now he kindled someone to ask about, say, remembrance. Good. Since we are all votaries of Ramnam, this has to be hammered. Not with a small stroke, big stroke. When we go through Pujya Swamiji's write-up, which he did in 2003, he had revealed this. He did not tell us anything about it. He will say always constant remembrance, you chant. But what was he doing? He said, I don't chant the way in which everybody does, or Mataji wanted us to chant. But whatever time I chanted, the result of which will have its impact later. That means it was a concentrated chanting. May not be for will read his own words. God made me repeat Ramnam, although I could not reach the figure that Mataji wanted everybody to chant. I did not believe in regimentation. Forcing from outside will make one sadhana mechanical. The aspiration must come from within so strongly that nothing else in the world matters. Then even work is not considered so important as Ramnam, unless work is done with full awareness of God, as done by the power of God, as service to God. Even if I chanted Ramnam for a few minutes, it would be coming from the bottom of my heart and would be give me great joy. So he was giving thrust to that, quality, not quantity. Remembrance, 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 Chanting, he also writes, chanting of Ramnam helped me the moment I chanted it to clearly visualize that everybody and every object is a combination of Purusha and Prakriti. Prakriti of names and forms is seen with the naked eyes, whereas Purusha, the substratum, is pure consciousness which can only be conscious of. Although it is clearly seen that Prakriti of names and forms is floating in the all-pervading Purusha, I was struggling to see that Prakriti is only Purusha with a form and therefore they are the same. The maximum I could get at was that all the names and forms in Prakriti are not separate entities but one in Purusha. In 2003 he writes, So that means when he was chanting, he was bringing up these things, Prakriti means in our language creation, Purusha means the life force within us and within everybody. So God remembrance, God dimension. In spite of hearing all these things also, we are unable to do it. So each one has to devise one's own method. Ultimately it comes to that. It cannot come from outside. So remembrance gives you awareness. Forgetfulness is removed by remembrance and ignorance by knowledge, so remembrance leads you to knowledge. You should feel His presence within yourself by constant remembrance. Meditation should come to you automatically through constant remembrance. People without any practice of continuous remembrance or concentration try to meditate on God and they do not succeed. Constant remembrance of the Atman will entirely efface the ego sense. So first, in the company of saints and sages, remembrance of God becomes possible by having the frequent contacts of saints. In their presence it is that you are spiritually awakened and are able to maintain a steady remembrance of God. Here also we have not, whenever we go to a saint, we are attached to that physical form and get stunted there. Sense objects should not disturb or attract you. If they do, you are unfit for sadhana. Sure. There must be real hunger for God. The longing for jnana or moksha should be intense. Then the world has no attraction for you. Else, the mind longs for the pleasures of the senses. With the result, God remembrance and meditation become impossible. So what do? Papa says, pray. Oh God, I do not know how to surrender. Give me continuous remembrance by which the ego may be put down and surrender may become a reality. By such a prayer and constant remembrance of Him, we can eliminate the ego sense. Through remembrance, we realize our oneness with Him. How to become one with Him? Through remembrance. When we forget Him, we think of worldly things. When the mind is raised through remembrance, it is free from disturbance. Do you not take food, go to office and attend to several other things? What kind of ill health you have? Question was, is it possible for me to realize God if I am unhealthy? Do you not take food? Do you not go to office, attend to several other things? For meditation, remembrance of God or taking His name, there is illness. Even if you are bedridden, you attend to many things. So the devotee's work in the office will not be perfect. Remembrance of God also might go on imperfectly during your ill health. All the time you will be trying to get cured by proper treatment. I am ill, still I am going to the office and taking medicine, you say. In the same way, in spite of illness, you can remember God, meditate on Him. If bedridden, then also you can think of God. Constant remembrance of God by repetition of His name is itself meditation. Constant remembrance of God by repetition of His name is itself meditation. Chanting God's name brings remembrance of God. Remembrance then develops into God consciousness, which leads to self-realization. Even in that higher consciousness which is born of remembrance, there is a little duality. For example, a mother is busily engaged in the kitchen and your youngest child is in the cradle in another room. When the mother is working, she is conscious that the child is there. Remembrance has developed a consciousness so that if the child cries a little, she hears it in the midst of her activities. So also, gopis had the consciousness of Sri Krishna even though they were away from him. True remembrance develops into a consciousness by which you feel His presence, and that feeling of presence leads to union with your beloved, which ultimately dissolves the sense of separation between you and Him. True remembrance develops into a consciousness by which you feel His presence, and the feeling of presence leads to union with your beloved, which ultimately dissolves the sense of separation between you and him. So chanting Ram Nam develops into smaran or remembrance of God. We feel his presence with us when remembrance becomes intense. Go to the saint, get light and remove darkness. Coupled with satsang, there must be the remembrance of God by taking his name. Satsang and Satnam. Papa again says, Gopi said, we are satisfied with your remembrance. We do not want moksha. We do not want jnana. Let us remember you constantly. Remembrance means darshan. Remembrance means pure, unalloyed bliss. Your remembrance is everything. We want such ananya bhakti. So in 50 places, in God Experience 1, Papa keeps on drawing our attention to the word remembrance. Each one will have to ask, why is it that I am not remembering, though I am chanting? Is it because that I don't have the real concept of God or the proper concept of God? You have to search.
It is very small.
No. There are many who are doing sadhana. They do not know why they are doing. Their conception of God is very limited and narrow. They must have, in the first place, a right conception of God before they try to attain Him. Is it due to that? You have to ask. Why is it that we are asking ourselves, in spite of our chanting, why is it that we are not remembering? When we are in ashram, as many sessions as possible. When we go home also, we have a sankalpa. When we meet on special occasions, we do Ram Nam. But there, are we unknowingly slipping into a chanting session? Okay, so far we were not able to keep up that remembrance. Now how do we do that? That is why probably today he is bringing this question. Even if I do one mala a day, even if I do 10 times, 11 times, I will make a resolve. I will try to. It is not the question of quantity. I have to remember him. I am chanting the name of one who is within me, who is making me to chant. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. I am chanting the name of one who is making me to chant. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. He is making me to chant. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. He is making me to chant. He is within me. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Like that, can we try? It may not be possible in chorus chanting or collective chanting, but our individual chanting we can definitely try. Even if we try for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, every Ramnam we will stop. Each one has to devise one's own method, no? How is it possible to remember him? Papa has given us so many clues. He said you can concentrate on the sound, because the sound comes from silence. So we are trying to find out where from it is coming. It is he. The stillness is he, the silence is he. In that way you can see. The awareness is he. That is, I know that I am chanting. That means he is there. And this chanting is possible only because the life force is there, and he is the life force. When there was no language in the world, you brought somebody the English language, whether it is Sanskrit or English, and then you made somebody to bring out this mantra. So many words, independently also they chant, collectively also they chant. So you are behind even the very Nama. Like that, can we go? Only because you are there, only because you are making my heart to beat, only because you are making my blood circulate, because of which the brain works, because of which the thinking process starts, only because of that I am in a position to chant. Can we think about that? In Bhagavad Gita, there are many slokas, not only in Bhagavad Gita. Simple slokas also are there, where we try to hammer this truth to ourselves. He is there. Pratasmarami hridi samspurat atma tattvam sat chit sukham paramahamsa gatim turiyam yat swapna jagara sushuptim avaidi nityam tad brahmam nishkalam aham najabhuta sangaha. I am not this assemblage of matter envelopments. Early morning, Pratasmarami Hridisam in my heart, I am in a position to retain the Atma Tattvam. What is that Atma? Satchit Sukham. Existence, knowledge, bliss. Paramahamsam, the supreme state. Turiyam, that is the fourth state. 3 states we know: waking, dream, and deep sleep. But there is a 4th stage which witnesses these 3 states. Yatsopana jagara sushutim avedi nityam. That Brahma, that witness consciousness is me. Not this assemblage of matter. That means not this BMI, body, mind, intellect equipment. So like that, when we chant any mantra, suppose we try to dwell on these aspects. Initially it may be at the intellectual level, academic level, but then we slowly know that these words are coming only because of him. So Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Papa used to say this congregational chanting will help. It will help when we have got this, clarity. Otherwise, with everybody we chant, that's all. But suppose we individually practice and somehow try to feel that it is for remembrance I am chanting, and then join the chorus chanting. It might. We don't know. Each one will have to feel for themselves. Because there, one advantage is there. A person will be leading the mantra. At that time, you will be keeping quiet. That particular time can be made use of to revel on this. Somebody will lead the nama, no? And we will follow it. So we can try this way. During that person leads, we can keep on bringing this dimension. That the sound comes from the silence only. So I am in a position to hear because you are there. And now you make me to chant. Something like that. This remembrance, 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 remembrance. This should keep on coming. Smaran. Yasya smarana matrena janma samsara bandhana. Vimuchyate namastasyai Vishnave Prabhu. In Vishnu Sahasranam also, this smaran, smaran, smaran. So we, not that we do not want to remember him, but it has not been given adequate importance. Because when we come to this ashram, we hear chanting session. We join the session. We enjoy the session. We go back. So persons who have been chanting this, when they don't find the sweetness, they must have asked Papa this question. And then Papa clarifies. Mere chanting will not do. Until such time we will not know, it's not our fault. We are watching ourselves. The moment we started coming here, nobody says anything about smaran or anything. We straight away simply join the chanting and it gives us some joy. We go back. And every time when we enjoy, we believe in the words of the masters that Nama is the panacea for everything. We did not understand that Nama becomes a panacea only when we bring in this remembrance. Later on from Papa's another talks in the satsang we understood why it is not told first. Because first you have to get habituated to it. Whether we know it or not, whether it is for remembrance or concentration. So Papa himself had said concentration, no concentration, chant. But that is only to get ourselves habituated to chanting, to develop a liking for chanting, to prioritize chanting. After some time when I find, after the session is over, nothing happens to me. I have the same likes and dislikes, same rights and wrongs, same preferences, same priorities, same cravings, same desires. Asserting entity in me is intact. He is not bending over the power. Then I go and ask my Guru, why, what should I do? Then he says, you are chanting it for the chanting's sake, but chanting it for remembrance. Is it becoming clear?
Yes, Swamiji, yes, Swamiji.
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
So good that this topic came. It's a very important thing, just like surrender, remembrance. Not that we don't want to. There should be a palpable, tangible change in my behavior. I should make clear that. My chanting should enable me to change my approach to men and matters. I will try to see not as men and matters, but try to see that he is testing me, he is teaching me through that men and matters. That means he comes there, na? Before the men and matters, he comes there. That can come only when I train my mind to bring him before anything. That will happen only when we chant Nama with the feeling that I am chanting the name of one who is within me and who is making me to chant. If he is making me to chant, he is making me to think. If he is making me to chant, he is making me to see. If he is making me to chant, he is making me to hear. Slowly I start stretching this to every activity. And just now we read out, no? Remembrance is darshan. Today when this question was asked, you see his grace, He is making the questioner to ask this question. And at the same time, he is not leaving us. He is directing us to go to his satsang talks, where he has clarified 50 times about, and he makes us to go there and makes us to understand. So one part of the mind can be rest assured that he is leading us. The other part doesn't remember, agreed. So we will try, when it has been diagnosed, why we have not been able to remember him, each one will diagnose. It can vary from person to person. As somebody said, acute illness, when the pain of the body is there, how will I remember him? I may chant. Practical problem will be there. So we then cry, appeal, and then he will give us some method. We are in deep stress due to monetary problems or family problems or professional problems. Suddenly the boss says something, and nowadays, these IT people are facing terrible stress because one fine morning their evaluation team, the manager or somebody says something, and it might lead to even losing their job. So at that time, when I chant, how will I be able to remember him? No? These are practical questions. So there we will find there cannot be any answer from outside. Only thing we know is we should be able to remember him. Why are you making me to go through such a... Why are you making me to go through such stressful period and you make me feel restless, tense? I am unable to hold on. Please help me. Again, that is caused by remembrance only, We can pray only when we remember him, Think about it. Today he is making it very, very clear.
Swamiji, his will only prevails, Swamiji.
What?
His will. His will only prevails.
His will only prevails.
That is remembrance. That is remembrance.
Why are you making me?
When it is his will that prevails, can we ask him?
Why not? Because we have not understood, we have only repeating somebody's word. If it is his will, we will not ask this question. It is only an intellectual assumption. Papa has said we are repeating, that's all. So when we realize, we will not ask this question. Then we are convinced, whatever happens is happening only by His will. Until such time only, it is only a statement of Papa, which we value, which we have faith, but it has not become ours.
We have unshakable faith, Swamiji, in Papa's words.
We have unshakable faith in Papa's words.
But we are not putting it into practice, How to put into practice? Nobody can guide us from outside beyond certain level. Up to this, Papa can guide us. Rest of the things, this sense of individuality, which is blocking the remembrance, must pave the way. So there, not because of our capacity, only because of our prayer. Thought cannot help us. Feeling only can help us.
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji. Feeling and your intense feeling. Yes, Swamiji. Hari Om. Thank you.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
ரொம்ப டீப்பான
Papa wants us, all of us, to become reflective and contemplative.
Thank you. Yes, Swamiji.
எல்லாத்திலையும்.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Because we know 20 years, 30 years we have been chanting. Still we don't feel we have got a grip. Whenever anything comes, we don't accept that it is God's will. So that means the remembrance is not there, though we remember Him at times probably by His grace. So we are now praying to Him. You somehow make my remembrance firm, steady.
Yes, Swamiji. Thank you, sir. Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Anything else from anybody? In God experience,
By constant remembrance, can we have at the time of Mukti a smile?
let us do that, no? Let us do that. If I invest money, will I get profit? You invest.
Thank you. It should be because I continue to remember. Yes, Papa's wish.
That is Papa's wish. Papa's wish.
All those things we can say, but we can say this much, that we should not dilute this. Chanting is for remembrance. We should be when we talk about it, let us try to concentrate on that particular aspect. We say Papa's will, God's will, all those things because somebody has told us whom we revere. But if it has to become a reality in my life, I must realize,
Yes.
Continuous remembrance. Whatever other sadhanas or disciplines that you impose on yourself, they are with the object of having continuous remembrance of God by repeating His name. Papa again keeps on telling. Whatever other sadhanas or disciplines that you impose on yourself, they are with the object of having continuous remembrance of God by repeating His name. Those restrictions or disciplines by themselves do not bring you anything. Moderate sattvic food, moderate sleep, right action out of love, without expecting anything in return, these will help you in the continuous repetition of the name. Have fast whenever necessary, not by the rule of the thumb. All these restrictions are necessary in order that you may have the name continuously, so that repetition may develop to remembrance, and that again into a consciousness which will ultimately enable you to become aware that you are He.
Yes, Swamiji.
So we should not get halted because of any restrictions or vradas. Vradas, do they help me to remember Him? any vrata that we impose on ourselves. Everything zeros to remembrance, In the remembrance of God, you have no suffering. Only others think you are suffering. The mother sits the whole night nursing her darling child who is sick. Others ask her, was it not a great strain on you last night? No, she says, she was doing it cheerfully. If a nurse is employed, she has no love for the light. She is fretful. So if by His grace you have love for God, you will do sadhana cheerfully. His remembrance gives you joy and fortitude.
Yes.
The devotee asks, we have desires and past habits. Papa, all will disappear through God's remembrance and His grace. You must hunger for truth. Then the devotee pleads, like all of us, he says, everyone is not fortunate to have this intensity of devotion. Papa, aspire for it earnestly. You will be absorbed in His remembrance.
Can aspiration lead to realization?
Remembrance is important,
Yes.
Aspiration also comes from, I want to reach God, I want to become aware of His presence. That is okay, but then afterwards, we are talking about while chanting. Because chanting is the method that is okay for us, we have been doing it. We have to do some fine-tuning while chanting. Instead of bringing so many other factors, why not we concentrate on this chanting alone? Because that is easy for us. We have a taste, we have faith in it, we have done it, we have been doing it. Every day all of us are religiously doing some quota. So now we are trying to find out why I have not been able to feel His presence behind my thought, word and deed. Behind the individuals and events. So I must do something. I don't know what I should do. So I plead. So during my pause moments, sattvic moments, when I am alone, I pray to Him, why are you blocking me? Why are you making hurdles for me not to remember you? You make me to chant, but you make the mind to go elsewhere. With the result, I forget that I am chanting your name. Outwardly the chanting goes on. But why are you doing this? Please help me. I am unable to do by myself because I am not intentionally doing it. And when the prayer comes, just like the carom board you strike, immediately something will strike to you. 100% sure. When such a cry comes from our heart, immediately something will come. And that will be the turning point. Just like when Papa was not at all having any idea about Nama, when he first met Gandhiji, from the words he has written, that was my first turn towards God, spiritual touch towards God. Then that means the Nama, because Gandhiji repeats Nama, that it was ripe enough, So when he had reached that stage, and when Gandhiji said that, probably it must have immediately got stuck. He started repeating Ram, 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 Ram. And the rest of the thing is a history. In 2 years' time, this had happened in 1920, and we all know what had happened on 27th December 1922. And many of us probably we may think that he got stabilized after his Inquest of God Yatra. No, 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 no. Certainly not. He has given it in clear-cut way. Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the divine mantra, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. That even before the 27th December 1922, he had attained freedom and peace. So in 2 years' time, no? It was not merely chanting then, no? Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the divine mantram, side by side with, this we have not understood, side by side with the concentrated meditation, that is remembrance, you know, on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God. That means he had developed a technique by which even while the chanting is going on, he was remembering him. No? Both were going simultaneous. Side by side means simultaneous. Because of the intensity and because of the grace of God, he was able to maintain this both at the time of chanting. Not merely chanting, remembering him. When he gave us the thought that we should, for our own sadhana, we should try to develop this Papa, in search of Papa, this is the first quotation that came to us. So that means the significance. First, there are about 20 slides, 20 points that welled up. But first one is this, Ramdas keeping to one method in one sadhana. So as soon as you open that book or the folder, the first one is this, Ramdas, through a ceaseless repetition of the divine mantra, side by side with the concentrated meditation on the all-pervading, eternal, ever-blissful, indwelling God, had attained freedom and peace even before his advent into the world as a mendicant. His advent into the world as a mendicant happened on 27th December 1922. And from his own words in Inquest of God, it was in 1920, no? He says, Ram kindled the desire in Ramdas to know him, realize him. So in this 2 years' time, now we are looking at ourselves. We must have spent 30 years, 40 years chanting. So we have not been able to bring in this dimension. Better late than never, no? So let us do. From today onwards we will do that. Forget about what had happened. It is that chanting that has taken us here now. Because we are 100% confident that nothing will go in vain. But the speed with which he undertook and that we were able to understand now. Because he was giving importance not only for chanting but for remembrance right from the start. So let us also try in our own way, pleading, appealing, and not merely pleading and appealing. Whatever facilities he has given, we will try. So one method could be something like this in our individual chanting, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Please enable me to remember you. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. You have given me the life. That is why I am in a position to remember you. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Not only that you have given me a life, you gave me the language, you gave me the mantra, you gave me the capacity to chant your name. That is why I am in a position to chant. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Like that we will add 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Silently. Nobody will know. And I equally pray to him to bless us with that. No? Out of your bounteous love you gave the name. Out of your bounteous love you have been watching us. And when you knew that we are not chanting the name to remember you, you brought these satsangs. You made us to go through your own words of wisdom about remembrance. And now we know why there is a delay in our spiritual progress. So kindly enable us to remember you. Again we chant Ram. And that is why you will not remember, he says, the slow chanting Ram Nam. There we will get some time, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Or any tune that is okay for us. Preferably slow chanting. Now we understand why he mentioned the slow chanting. Why he mentioned that mental chanting.
Thanks for the initiation.
And when we chant, and he also said mental chanting. So when we chant like this and train the mind to chant slowly, immediately after we stop, definitely 1 or 2 or 3 times you will be able to chant in the same speed. At that time we will try to remember him. So like that we will try to improve the quality of our chanting and proceed further. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om.
Hari Om Swami. Pranam.
Pranam, pranam.
Pranam Swami.
Pranam,
Pranam.
Pranam, Swami.
Pranam. Pranam.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Pranam.
Pranam.
Narayana.
Narayana, Narayana, Narayana.
Pranam.
No, it had not fallen. I keep it down.
Oh, that's why. I thought you were probably falling down. Okay.